She ran barefoot through the forest, her heart pounding violently against her chest, branches slashing against her skin as she clutched the child tightly. "Don't touch her hair!" she screamed, her voice breaking in terror. "If you cut it, she will die!" The wind roared like something alive, chasing her. A voice echoed behind her, deep, ancient, and filled with warning. "You were told the rule." She fell hard to her knees, gasping, tightening her grip on the child whose white hair shimmered even in the darkness. "I didn't break it," she cried. "I swear I didn't." Silence. Then darkness swallowed everything. Years earlier. In a quiet village surrounded by thick forest, people spoke about Sade in whispers. Not because she was wicked, not because she was proud, but because she had no child. 8 years of marriage and nothing. At first, her husband, Tunde, had been patient. He would hold her close at night, whispering soft reassurances. "It will happen," he would say. "Our time will come." But time passed. Hope faded, and love slowly turned into resentment, until one night everything shattered. "I'm done waiting," Tunde said coldly, packing his belongings without looking at her. "I want a family, a real one." Sade's knees hit the floor instantly. "Please," she begged, grabbing his arm. "Don't leave me. I can still—" "You've had 8 years," he snapped, pulling away. "I've already found someone else." The words cut deeper than any blade. She froze. "You found someone else?" Her voice trembled. He didn't answer. He just walked away and never returned. From that day, Sade became invisible. The laughter in her voice disappeared. Her smile faded. Even the villagers stopped greeting her properly. "Poor woman," they would whisper. "A home without a child is an empty home." To survive, she turned to the forest. Every morning, she carried a rope and a dull cutlass, walking miles into the trees to gather firewood. It was exhausting, lonely, but it kept her alive. And somehow, the forest felt less cruel than people. One afternoon, under the harsh sun, her strength finally gave out. Her hands trembled. Her legs refused to move. She dropped her firewood and sank onto the ground. For a long moment, she just sat there. Then she broke. Tears streamed down her face as she covered her mouth to stop the sound, but it escaped anyway. "I'm tired," she whispered. "I'm so tired." Her shoulders shook. "I don't have anyone," she cried softly. "No husband, no child, nothing." Her voice cracked as the pain she had buried for years poured out all at once. "If I cannot have a life, at least let me have a child," she sobbed. "Even if it is just for a moment. Let me feel what it means to be a mother." The forest went still. Too still. The wind stopped. The birds fell silent. Sade slowly lifted her head and froze. Someone was standing in front of her. An old woman. She hadn't been there before. Her long grey hair flowed down her shoulders, her clothes blending into the green of the forest like she belonged to it. And in her arms was a baby. Not an ordinary baby. This child's hair was pure white, glowing faintly like moonlight. Sade's breath caught in her throat. Who are you?" she whispered. The old woman stepped forward slowly, her eyes calm but powerful. "I have been listening to your cries," she said. Her voice didn't sound normal. It felt heavy, ancient. "My name is Iyalod," she continued, "and this forest is mine to guard." Sade's body trembled. This is not real." "It is," the woman said gently. "And so is your prayer." She stretched out the baby. "Take her." Sade hesitated, then slowly. She reached out. The moment the baby touched her arm, something inside her broke open. Love. Pure, overwhelming love. Tears flooded her eyes instantly. She's warm," she whispered. The baby smiled, and Sade let out a broken laugh through her tears. "My child." Iolode watched her closely. "Be careful what you accept," she said. Saad looked up. "I don't care," she replied quickly. "I will accept anything." The woman's expression changed slightly. "Then listen carefully." Her voice grew deeper. "This child is not like others." Saade tightened her hold on the baby. "I understand." "You do not," the woman said sharply. The air grew heavy. "If a single strand of her hair is ever cut," she said slowly, "the forest will take her back immediately." Sade's heart skipped. "What?" "That hair is her life," the woman continued. "Her existence in this world depends on it." Sade looked down at the child's glowing white hair, then back up. "I swear," she said instantly, "no one will touch it." The woman stepped closer. "And when she turns 18... She stopped. Sade's breath caught. "What happens?" she asked quickly. The woman stared at her for a long moment. Then she said softly, "Only love will decide her fate." Before Saad could ask another question, the woman vanished, gone, like she had never been there. Saad sat frozen, clutching the child tightly, her heart racing. "What does that mean?" she whispered. The baby let out a soft laugh, and Saad held her closer. "No matter what happens," she said firmly, "you are mine now." And for the first time in years, she smiled. The child grew faster than anything Saad had ever seen. It felt like only weeks ago she had carried her in her arms, fragile and small. But now the girl was already running through the compound, her laughter light and free, her white hair flowing behind her like a trail of silver. Sade named her Zara, and from the very beginning she guarded her like her life depended on it, because it did. No one was allowed to touch Zara's hair. Not the curious women who came pretending to greet, not the children who reached out in wonder, not even the elders who questioned her. "Why are you hiding the child like this?" they would ask. Sade would smile nervously and say nothing. But deep inside, fear lived in her heart every single day. At first, the villagers only whispered, "A strange child. Look at her hair. Something is not right." But whispers soon turned into something else. Fear. Because Zara was not normal. The first sign came on a quiet morning. Saad lay on her mat, burning with fever, her body too weak to move. Her vision blurred, her breathing shallow. Zara, still very young, climbed onto the bed. "Mama," she said softly. Saade tried to respond, but no words came out. Zara placed her small hand on her mother's forehead. And then something happened. A soft glow, warm, gentle. Within moments, the heat in Saade's body vanished. Her breathing steadied. Her strength returned like nothing had ever happened. She sat up suddenly, eyes wide with shock. "What? What did you do?" she whispered. Zara simply smiled. "You're okay now," she said. That was the day Saad truly understood. This child was not just a blessing. She was something else entirely. As Zara grew older, more things began to happen. Things that could not be explained. Things that made people uncomfortable. One afternoon, Zara stood outside and stared at the sky. "Mama," she said calmly, "tell everyone to stay inside today." Saad frowned. "Why?" "A storm is coming," Zara replied. The sky was clear. The sun was bright. There was no sign of rain. But something in her voice. It wasn't a guess. It was certainty. Saad hesitated, but she listened. She went around warning people. Some laughed. Some ignored her. But by evening, the sky turned black. The wind howled violently. Rain poured like the heavens had opened. Roofs were torn apart. Trees crashed to the ground. And those who had listened to Sade survived safely indoors. After that, everything changed. People started coming to their house, not out of kindness, but out of need. Will it rain tomorrow? Will my farm be safe? Will my husband recover? Zara answered them all, calmly, softly, and she was always right. Then came the day that removed all doubt. A man in the village had been sick for months, weak, dying. His family had given up hope. They cried day and night, waiting for the end. When Zara heard, she ran there before Sadeh could stop her. She walked straight to the man and placed her hands on his chest. Everyone held their breath. Seconds passed. Then suddenly, the man gasped. His eyes flew open. He sat up, alive, strong, as if nothing had ever happened. The compound erupted into chaos. People screamed. Some fell to their knees. Others ran in fear. "She's not ordinary. She's a spirit. She's a gift from the gods." From that day, Zara was no longer just a child. She became something the village depended on, but not everyone was happy. Zara had 3 close friends growing up, Mira, Kemi, and Lila. They had shared everything together since childhood. Laughter, secrets, long walks, and dreams. At least, that was how it used to be. Now things felt different. Subtle at first, almost invisible. One evening, as villagers praised Zara endlessly, Mira forced a smile. Kemi folded her arms quietly. Lila said nothing at all, but their eyes said everything. "It's always her," Mira muttered later. "She's special. She's gifted. She's perfect," Kemi added bitterly. Lila stared at the ground. "What if—" "She wasn't," she whispered. They both looked at her. "What do you mean?" Mira asked. Lila hesitated, then said quietly, "What if something is making her like that?" Silence fell between them. That night the idea took root, small, dangerous, and it began to grow. Back at home, Saad sat beside Zara watching her sleep, her long white hair spread across the mat like light. Saad's chest tightened. Fear had never left her, not for a single day. The warning echoed in her mind again. If her hair is ever cut, the forest will take her back. The next morning Sadeh called Zara. "My child," she said softly, holding her face. "Listen to me carefully." Zara nodded. "Be careful of everyone," Sadeh continued, "even those close to you." Zara frowned slightly. "My friends would never hurt me," she said. Sadeh forced a smile. "Just promise me something." "What is it, Mama? Never let anyone touch your hair?" Zara looked confused. "But why?" Said hesitated, then shook her head. "I just need you to promise me." Zara nodded slowly. "I promise." Years passed. Zara grew into a young woman, beautiful, calm, and still different. Her fame spread beyond the village. People came from far places to seek her help, and every miracle she performed pulled her further away from a normal life and deeper into danger, because jealousy had now fully taken root. Mira, Kemi, and Lila no longer saw her as a friend. They saw her as something else, something above them, something they could never be, and in their hearts. That was no longer acceptable. By the time Zara turned 17, the distance between her and her friends had become impossible to ignore. They still smiled, they still visited. But something had changed, something cold. One afternoon they sat together under the mango tree like they used to, but the laughter was gone. Zara spoke, but her words felt like they were falling into silence. Mira stared at her hair. Kemi watched her hands. Lila avoided her eyes completely. "Is something wrong?" Zara finally asked. "No," Mira replied quickly, forcing a smile. "Everything is fine." But it wasn't. Later that evening, the 3 of them sat alone. No pretending, no smiles. "It's her hair," Kemi said quietly. Mira nodded slowly. "It has to be." Layla hesitated, then spoke. "Have you noticed?" she said. "Everything about her. It's connected." They fell silent, thinking. What if, Mira began slowly, that hair is the reason she's like this? Kemi looked up. You mean her powers? Mira nodded. And if it's gone? Kemi continued. Then she becomes normal, Lila finished. The words hung in the air, heavy, dangerous. For a moment, none of them spoke. Then Mira said it. We should test it. Back at home, Sade couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. The forest was too quiet, the night air too still. Even the insects were silent. She sat beside Zara, gently brushing her long white hair, the same way she had done since she was a child. Her fingers trembled slightly. My child, she whispered. Can you see what will happen tomorrow? Zara froze. Her expression changed. I've tried before, she said softly. But I can't. Saad's heart tightened. Why? Zara shook her head. Whenever I try to see my own future, everything goes dark. Fear gripped Said's chest instantly. Listen to me carefully, she said, holding Zara's face. Tomorrow, do not leave this house. Zara blinked in surprise. Why, Mama? Just promise me. Zara hesitated, then nodded. I promise. Sadie pulled her into a tight embrace. Too tight. As if she was holding on to something she was about to lose. Before sunrise, Sadie left for the forest. Her movements were quick, uneasy. She looked back at the house one last time. Zara was still asleep, her white hair glowing softly against the mat. I'll be back soon, Sadie whispered. And then she left. Not long after. A knock sounded at the door. Zara opened it. Mira stood there, Kemi and Lila behind her. Happy birthday, Mira said with a warm smile. Zara smiled back. Thank you. We came to take you to the stream, Kemi added. We want to celebrate with you. Zara hesitated immediately. My mother said I shouldn't go out today. Lila laughed softly. Just for a short while, she said. We'll be back before she returns. Mira reached for her hand. We're your friends, she said gently. You trust us, don't you? Zara looked at their faces. The same faces she had known all her life. The same people she had loved like sisters. Slowly, she nodded. Okay. They walked into the forest together. At first, everything seemed normal. They talked. They laughed. But as they moved deeper, the air changed. Cold. Heavy. When they reached a narrow path near the stream, Mira suddenly stopped. Wait, she said. Zara turned. What is it? Before she could react, Kemi stepped behind her. Lila moved to her side. Zara's heart skipped. Why are you standing like that? She asked nervously. Mira's hands were shaking, but her voice was firm. It has to be done. Zara stepped back. What are you talking about? Kemi slowly pulled out a small pair of scissors. Everything inside Zara froze. No, she whispered. My mother said no one should touch my hair, she said quickly, panic rising. If you cut it, something terrible will happen. Lila grabbed her arm. It's the only way, she said, her voice breaking. Zara struggled instantly. Please, she cried, don't do this, you're my friends. Tears filled Mira's eyes. If this hair is gone, she said, everything will stop. All the praise, all the attention. We just want things to be normal again, Kemi shouted. Zara screamed, fighting with everything she had. My hair is my life, she cried, please. But jealousy had already won. Kemi raised the scissors and cut. The moment the blade touched the white hair, everything changed. A violent wind exploded through the forest. The sky darkened instantly. The ground shook beneath their feet. Zara's body went still. Her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed, lifeless. The cut strands of her hair didn't fall. They vanished, like smoke. The forest roared, alive, angry. Far away, Sade dropped her firewood. Her chest tightened violently. My child! She ran. Behind her, the forest howled like it was calling something back. Back at the stream, the three girls stood frozen, shaking. "What? What did we do?" Lila whispered. Mira stepped back slowly. "She's not breathing." Kemi dropped the scissors, her hands trembling uncontrollably. "This wasn't supposed to happen." The wind suddenly stopped. Silence fell, and then a voice. "You were warned." They turned slowly. An old woman stood behind them. Her eyes burned with power, and in that moment, they knew. The old woman stepped forward slowly, her presence silencing even the wind. Her eyes burned like fire. "You were warned," she repeated. The three girls dropped to their knees instantly, trembling. "We didn't mean to," Mira cried. "Silence," the woman said. Her gaze moved to Zara's lifeless body on the ground. For a brief moment, sadness flickered across her face. Sada burst through the trees seconds later. Her breathing was wild, her eyes searching desperately. Then she saw her. "My child!" She fell beside Zara, pulling her into her arms. "No, no! Wake up!" she cried, shaking her gently. But Zara didn't move. No breath, no warmth, nothing. Saad's scream echoed through the forest, a sound so deep it felt like it tore the air itself. She turned to the old woman, crawling toward her. "Please," she begged, grabbing her robe. "Bring her back. Take me instead." Her voice broke completely. "I have lived my life. Let her live hers." The forest spirit looked down at her quietly. "There is only one way," she said. Sada didn't hesitate. "I accept." The woman raised her hand. A soft light formed around them. One life for another. The light moved toward Zara's body. Then suddenly, Zara gasped. Her chest rose sharply as air rushed back into her lungs. "Mama," she whispered weakly. Saad let out a cry of relief, holding her tightly. "You're alive! You're alive!" But then Zara looked up and saw the spirit. Her expression changed instantly. "No," she whispered. She turned back to her mother. "They're taking you." Said forced a smile through her tears. "It's okay," she said softly, holding her face. "This is what mothers do." Zara shook her head violently. "No! I don't want to live without you." "Listen to me," Said said, her voice trembling but firm. "Live. Be happy. That is enough for me." Behind them, the three girls cried uncontrollably. "This is our fault," Kemi sobbed. "We destroyed everything," Lila whispered. The spirit raised her hand again. "There is another way," she said. Said looked up quickly. "Anything," she said. The woman turned to Zara. "If you remain in this world," she said slowly, "you will lose your gifts. No more healing, no more visions. You will become ordinary." Silence. Zara looked at her mother, then back at the spirit. "I don't care," she said. Said nodded immediately. "I accept." The moment the words were spoken, a bright light left Zara's body, rising into the air, disappearing into the forest. The wind calmed, the darkness faded. Everything became still again. Zara collapsed weakly into her mother's arms, alive, human. The spirit began to fade. "You have chosen love over power," she said softly. Then she vanished. Years later, Zara lived a simple life. No miracles, no visions, just kindness. And Said. She was no longer called cursed. She was known as the woman who chose love over everything. If this story touched you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because sometimes the greatest power is not magic, it is love.